tell me about your new podcast.
Yeah, it's called Toure Show. I'm doing hour-long one-on-ones with successful Black people, really trying to dig into what makes you successful, what are the tactics and attitudes that have helped propel you, what can we learn from you and your success that will help us on our rise. And we've talked to Maxwell and Black Thought and Kendrick Lamar and Zadie Smith and Kehinde Wiley and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and we got a whole array of people from different fields, not just music, but also Nikki Giovanni. Also, we're gonna have business stars, and Joy Reid is up next. The one that's out now is actually really, really crazy. Susanna Melvoin, who Prince fans will remember is the twin sister of Wendy Melvoin from Wendy and Lisa. And Susanna was dating Prince from before Purple Rain through Sign of the Times. And like Nothing Compares to You is about her. I Want to Be Your Girlfriend is about her. Starfish and Coffee, she has a co-writing credit on because that was her childhood story. She grew up with Cynthia Rose, that was her real name. Every day she would be like, Suzanne's like, she's on the spectrum, clearly on the spectrum. Every day she'd be like, guess what I had for breakfast? Starfish and pee-pee is what she would say. Her favorite number was 20. And she told Prince the story a couple of times because it was a fun story. And she, I imagine if you are friends with an autistic person, that would probably stand out in your life. Like, this person I met who was really, really interesting. And finally, Prince said, can you write out the story? And she did. And he went down into the basement for 10 hours and came back and was like, here's the song. I changed pee-pee to coffee. But almost everything in the song is from her telling of her childhood autistic friend. And she talks about dating him, him proposing to her. She was supposed to star in Under the Cherry Moon. He says, come to Paris, let's get this poppin'. And then he's like, so I don't want you to be in the movie. And she's like, okay, but I want you to be my wife. Like, okay, but then from there it just falls apart. So, that one is just sort of a friend of mine just telling an amazing story about an amazing person. But most of them, hopefully you'll learn something that you'll be like, this will help me as I'm trying to do my thing, as I'm trying to get through my art.
Right, because you interviewed Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
That's a big one right there.
He's the man. He's the man. And he's short, but he radiates this power. And, he's very thoughtful when he speaks. And, it's definitely like, I have thought before I was talking, so, you should really listen to what I'm saying. And he's a serious dude.
Yeah, I've never interviewed him, but we've hung out before and we've had conversations and so forth. Interesting guy.
You hate to have that buddyship. It's not a friendship, but like a professional buddyship. But you can't turn it into an interview, right? It's like come on, let's talk. Let's do it. Let's do it for real. Like, hey, I definitely have.
Yeah, no. Me and Dave Chappelle are like this. You know what I mean? Because I remember I showed up backstage, we hung out, and we text each other. But every time I ask for the interview, it's like no response. So
like, please, Tyler Perry. He texts me. He's my buddy on text. And I'm like, so can we? And he's ghost. But my Chappelle interview, I think I was the third person to talk to him after he came back from South Africa. I talked to him for BET. He was promoting the block party. And we were supposed to talk about the block party. And we talked about the block party. And then I was like, can we talk about the show? And he was like, I guess a little bit. I'm like, well, let's talk about how genius the show was, because it was amazing. And I'm like blowing him up. And it's true. The show was genius. Everybody should watch it. And it's like, this is brilliant. That's brilliant. He's like, yeah. Da, 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 da. And then it's finally like, so why'd you go to South Africa? And I remember you talked about, you've seen this before. Remember when Martin Lawrence got a $50 million deal? Remember when Mariah Carey got a gigantic contract? And they sort of lost their minds after that? Like, you've seen this before. And it was vague, but I was like, I kind of get it. And Vlad, I swear, this is one of the biggest regrets of my career, because, you know, we're doing 2-camera shot, of course, and one of the cameramen said, I have to change tape, and I wanted to strangle him. Why would you say that? Because then Dave's like, oh, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. He walked out, he never came back. Of course he's not coming back. He did not want to talk about the show. He did not want to talk about South Africa. And I got him talking about South Africa. Why? Just change the tape quietly. Let the other guy get the shot. Like, you don't understand we're in a fragile interview situation? No. So, great. Thanks a lot.
Hey, man, listen, it's great to hear someone as passionate about doing interviews as I am. It's
hell
really
yeah.
dope to,
Hell yeah.
You know,
I mean, look,
to actually, you know, hear someone kind of explain what it is, you know, why I've devoted so many years of my life to interviewing. You know, and definitely, you know, it's dope that you came in here to tell these stories, man. Definitely appreciative and definitely admire what you do.
Thank you, man, and you too, man. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing interviews with everybody. I'm sure we've interviewed the same person many, many times, and maybe there's folks out there going, yeah, well, Vlad asked me this. Oh, Toure asked me the same shit, man. I wanted to punch that dude in his face, but I remember there was one thing I was like, because I was at Fuse, and I had interviewed, like, Premier, and I think it was Pete Rock at some festival, and then I heard later that they were at the IHOP, like, making fun of my voice, and I'm like, wait a minute, just Premier and Pete Rock were talking about me, like, and like laughing about me, like, great, like, say whatever you want, like, this is fantastic. Oh my God, I love those guys.